Hello everybody, and just here and welcome to Bye Bye! Bye Bye Earth, episode 1. A brand new show on the channel, and I believe this is the last one of the new coming shows. So now you know the whole entire roster for my channel for this season. What do I know of this show? Well, I know it has a girl with a big sword. And I've already seen a show with a girl with a big sword, in which the sword was an Isekai character and the girl was a cat girl. This one seems to be a little bit the opposite, so to speak, because the girl is a human in the world of not just cat people, but just like animal people in general, and I think some like demons and elves and stuff like that, and she's the sole only regular quote-unquote human. Whether it means that she's been isekai'd, or it means that, I don't know, every single human in this world is already extinct and she's the only one remaining, or whatever there is, whatever is the story, I don't know. We'll see, right? We will see in the show. What else do I know about it? It's made by Studio Liden Films, I believe. And yeah, that's where my knowledge of it ends. It seems interesting. It seems decently well made. We've seen the trailer during the seasonal stream. That's gonna be linked here in the card if you're curious to check it out. And the title seems very interesting, right? Because what does a girl with a sword have to do with saying goodbye to Earth, right? Like, I would expect a show, a story titled Bye Bye Earth to be sci-fi, right? Someone is running away from their home planet, and that's the, Bye Bye Earth. I'm going to live in the Zeta Reticuli star system, helping the Gurvangas mine Skungo ore on the gas giant or whatever, right? Like, I would expect something like that. But this is a fantasy story. So the title Bye Bye Earth really intrigues me. One explanation for it that I might have is that it is a sci-fi story, just with a coat of paint, so to speak. That maybe she is the sole human because she arrived here by a space shuttle that got crashed or something, and she is the sole only human who happened to land on a planet filled with humanoid animals, or something like that, right? That would kind of explain the title, because what else, right? So I'm very much interested in it, both from an aesthetic standpoint of small girl big sword, that's always been a weakness of mine, and from the title that hints at a completely different story than was portrayed in the trailer. Not in a bad way, though, right? Not in a way where the trailer would be a misdirection or an outright lie or anything like that. But the title hints at there being something more, perhaps? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's the fact that I've been reading a lot of humanity, fuck yeah, genre stories recently. Maybe that's kind of clouding my judgment. I don't know. Again, we will see as soon as I make myself capable of seeing. That is, good enough. If you're new to the channel and you're unfamiliar with how those videos look, right now we're doing the intro, and that's gonna be the same for every single episode. I'm gonna recap what happened in a previous episode, share some additional thoughts that might have occurred since then. Then we're gonna go through the video with a timer and subtitles so that YouTube doesn't strike it, so prepare your own copy. I'm watching the version by subs, please, if you want the exact same. The fan subs are dead, so there probably are no other versions of it. Then we're gonna go through this show here in the corner, and then we're gonna go through the... That's the wrong window. yeah, through the studio and the staff and the voice actors and all sorts of stuff like that to see who made this show. And then gonna do an outro, closing thoughts, what I thought of this episode, etc, etc. The bit with checking out the studio and the others happens only once in the first episode, so if this video seems very long to you, it's probably gonna be well over an hour and a half, I'm assuming. Future episodes are probably gonna be shorter because that whole segment of checking the creators is going to be gone. But even still, everything's gonna be time-stamped in the chapters, in the wherever YouTube decides to put it, so we can always just skip to what interests you most. Fair, fair. Okay, so how about we just start watching this show without further ado, right? Shall we? To do it, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want to monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 1 of Bye Bye Earth in 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, interesting music. Red versus blue. As your Enola. Enola was written on the sword. Well, that's a way to start a show. Hmm? Okay. Fish flower? It's like an octopus thing. And I'm assuming the Nomad is our main character, right? Him and her. I mean, her is referring to her. Duh. Who's the him here, though? That's a cool looking sword. And fairly modern looking boots. Featureless, right. It would probably be beneficial to her to, like, I know, slay a goat or something and strap some goat horns to her head. Belle Lablac. Okay. In the lake. Hope you can swim. I mean, if at all possible. Okay, so she likes octopus. Gonna make, like, takoyaki? Probably. I mean, 100% she's Japanese. That's a heavy sword. And again, very modern clothing. Except the binder. It is an isekai, isn't it? What are those butt slits on her pants? Yeah, I mean, that's a design for pants, alright? I've seen, like, hip windows, but I've not seen butt slits. Dinner. Oh, even the fucking octopus has horns. Okay, it's more like a octopus dragon Kirin thing then. There we go. Oh, that's heavy. And it looks like something reminiscent of Damascus. Okay. Alright. You have my attention. Runding. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more of a seasonal isekai trash quality, but it seems anything but. Yeah, some actually decent art and decent animation. Like, it's no Frieren, it's no Wistoria, but it's really good. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of whatchamacallit? I forgot the specific term for it. A lot of stuff destroyed in the process. Easy. 3 slashes in a single hit. More like ink. Do you not like salt? Oh, still alive? Why are they scared of salt water? You can talk to it? Okay, so it's been trying to turn the lake into a sea. Can't go now, but why? So it's like a dragon flower octopus hybrid because it spreads through seeds. Centaurs. Gonna carry at least one of those seeds to the sea, I'm assuming. And the sword is back to being Damascus. Okay, so there is already something more going on here. She's not just mindlessly slaying those monsters. She can apparently speak to them. And apparently there is a reason for monsters to be migrating inland. Sea monsters, at least. For some reason. But yeah, I mean, that reason is the mystery here, isn't it? Hope the river carries it to the sea. On that side... What do you mean? The side of the monsters? Yeah, that flint still doesn't work much, does it? Yeah, but he's probably doing it as a training for you. You can't use magic, so he's not gonna be using magic in your stead, right? Hmm. Sharper edge, so like she has control over how sharp her sword becomes? Or like, I don't know, the better her focus, the better the sword becomes, something along those lines? Okay, so he likes octopus as well. Just likes it smothered in, what exactly? Ketchup, sour cream, and salt? I don't know. It explicitly said Kent, yeah. Yeah, why spread them inland though? Magic pipe that. Oh, apparently it does use some sort of tobacco or something. I thought maybe he's just smoking the magical crystal. But no, I guess the crystal is there for heating? Probably. Enola, instructor. Gotcha. Okay. We have an explanation for the word from the beginning. Probably not. Yeah, slim chances. What now? The what now? Army of insatiable emptiness? Okay, we're just casually dropping so many terms. Probably, yeah. Safe assumption. Except what is your home, right? That's a good question. Like vague homesickness. Homesickness after a place you've never been to, you've never had. Hmm. Huh? Huh? That was a lot. Nomad. Okay, so Nomad is like an official role, so to speak. Not Nomad, but like, I don't know, there's some Nomad certification just by traveling the land randomly. You don't automatically become a nomad. You're like a wanderer or a rover or something. But Nomad is a specific title. Is traveling seen like as something special in this world? Like everybody's entirely sedentary. They might be visiting like the next neighboring city, but it's like a big, huge fucking endeavor. But traveling the land, oh no. No siree. Is that why nomads are special? Because they're the only ones willing to brave the travel. It's the same glow that she had when talking to the octopus. So I guess communicating like telepathically with Runding? Okay, that is not a modern dress. Okay, she's strong. Like, naturally strong, it seems. And I'm again reminded instantly of Humanity Fakia stories, and namely Death Worlders. Okay, so what? She was born to Nekomimi parents, but she was born without ears? Or is she actually, like, sole survivor of a drop pod from a spaceship, and those two cat people found her and raised her as their own? But she's actually from Earth? Something like that? Yeah, pick up the chain sword. Nothing bad ever happens if you do that. I mean, in this particular case, yeah, nothing bad happens. But still, the sword was probably chained for a reason, wasn't it? What's this place even? How did she make it here? Where is she? Who is she? What are we doing? Where are we? Oh, that's a big planet. And the sword speaks German. That's a big sword. Very good question, actually, yeah. Who are you? You know her? Oh, you both go to jail then. Sure, okay. I mean, at least she did get a friend, so... Yeah, that looks like a planet, but it's orbiting like a moon. Are they on moon? And they are orbiting a planet instead. Well, that's an interesting thought. What are those bat slits? She decided to travel? Yep. She decided to travel. Is that gonna be the fight from the beginning of the episode? But with less, glowing light stylization? Curse? Okay, again, what's so special about being a nomad? Draw my blood and get cursed? Something along those lines. And he also has a magic sword. Okay, exchanging their blood. And that creates the curse. Yeah, makes sense. So, what is the curse? Is her curse the memory loss? Okay. Okay. Sure. So this is like the second part of the trial, kill your master. And yeah, that's the opening scene. He was assigned to her? Or did he learn of her existence and picked her? Erechon. Yeah, I knew that it doesn't spell Rundig. Or whatever is the name of it. Utopia. Cool music. Okay, we still have like half a minute. And his sword is named Enola as well. Does the sword that picks you dictate your destiny or something like that? That's why he was not able to use his powers for anything else but teaching. Because his sword says instructor, so he's relegated to being an instructor and nothing else ever. Maybe. And her sword being named Utopia would mean that she's about to change the world for the better? That she is going to find or found a utopia? I don't know, man. This was a very confusing episode. I'm gonna be honest. It certainly did hook me though. Like, no question about it. I'm hooked. Oh, hello, Emul. How do you get here from Shangri-La? Friend? A classmate? I don't know, he was wearing the same outfit as she was, so I'm assuming either some magical school or warrior academy or something like that. Or the official attire of a nomad. Man, this episode just casually dropped so many. Oh, what was that thing? Oh man. Oh, this episode was fast. Oh, this just took no fucking time at all. Let's watch it again and try to decipher everything that, or at least some part of what happened here. Yeah, the big fight with the Enola. Bye Bye Earth. Lake Chaser. The temple that looks like a color picker. And a lot of people, everybody has features, quote unquote, right? Nobody's featureless. There's no festival, and they're not trying a criminal either. People are crying. Seed from the sea washed in, and I guess this seed grew into this tentacle dragon flower. Yeah? Yeah, probably. Spreading poison everywhere, trying to convert the fresh water into salt water. Yeah, trying to convert it into its habitat, essentially. Mice and weird bug men. Nomad, ones who travels. So, nomads are special, right? Like, the fact that you travel alone, the lone fact that you travel does not make you a nomad, right? You have to take the curse, you have to go through some trials, you have to do whoever knows what else, and only that makes you a nomad. Interesting. Nomad's got this girl who lives with him, and he sent her. Right, so he was a nomad, she isn't yet. Got herself kicked out of Park City for stirring up trouble. That's an interesting mixture of various clothing styles. Like, I try to decipher whether she's maybe isekai or something by her clothing, but we really see a huge mixture of clothing styles and, like, eras, I guess. The mice are wearing something from like 18th, 19th century kind of thing. The dude in a vest, the bugman in a vest, also something thereabouts. But then we have those like linen shirts that are whatchamacallit, tied with string or whatever by the neck. That's very clearly earlier times. Although not necessarily, I guess even 18th century peasants would be wearing that. So I guess that's around where it places this time-wise, kinda sorta. And yet she's wearing kinda sorta modern sneakers, but with like flared things, baggy pants. Interesting. No ears, no horns, no ass, no balls. Never heard of such a tribe. She doesn't have anything right. She's featureless. Belle Lablac. LeBlanc. Belle, beautiful, sure. LeBlanc, blank, blank, featureless. Her name could essentially spell featureless. Or carte blanche. And her master is Cian LeBlanc. Is it his real name? I don't know. Did she take his surname, or did he take hers, or did they just think of it and made it up? I don't know. Maybe we're gonna learn of it in the future. Arbiter of Weather Wheel Tower. That's another name drop. Weather Wheel Tower. Okay, that's a thing. And it needs an arbiter. Deflect swords and spears. Inky poison. Negroni. Flower flesh is my favorite food. I don't care what kind. Right. She really likes the octopus. They look at her as she's crazy and, right, beastly, right, barbarian. So I'm barbarian just because I only eat grass and fruit. I'm a barbarian just because I don't only eat grass and fruit, is what you meant, I think, because unless this tentacle monster counts as a fruit? I don't know, maybe? Does it? Does it count as a fruit? I mean, it's a flower, supposedly, but it doesn't seem like a flower. Like, if anything, I'd expect her to be seen as a brute and barbarian because she enjoys eating flesh. Meanwhile, everybody else is vegetarian. I don't know, man. There are so many things I just don't know. And underneath the poncho is a very modern looking attire, right? Baggy pants, a belt that's like this, not a leather belt with the buckle with the thingamajig that goes through the hole, but rather like one of those military, well, I guess they, are not just military, but whatever. that a cloth, woven cloth belt with the buckle that just, can adjust without any regard for any holes. You know what I'm talking about, right? I have it in my drawer, but I'm not gonna take it out. But it's fairly modern, right? It's not a leather belt with a regular buckle. It's something that immediately just evokes the image of military. In general, her look very much is reminiscent of that military girl of duty, that, or rather, anime trope of a military girl on duty, right? Khaki pants, military belt, tank top, right? Tell me you don't see it. And the tank top itself seems to be a fairly modern thing as well. She's not wearing a linen shirt, she's not wearing anything like that. It's a tank top. Just a modern fucking tank top. But underneath it, there's not a bra, but instead a binder, just made of some white cloth, which is anachronistic to the rest of her outfit. There's something weird going on there with the clothes and the fucking butt slits. And the butt slits, why? Like, I would expect like a slit at the back, at the small of her back, because that's where the tail goes through for species that have a tail. She doesn't have a tail, but the slit is here. But butt slits? Butt slits? Why? Why? I am going to take some notes, though, for sure. If you're unfamiliar, this is my green notebook. I always note down my theories about other, like, every show that I watch, and then at the end of the show we check which theories were correct and which were not. By Earth. I'm not gonna note it down as any particular theory, but anachronistic attire. That's gonna be relevant somehow, I feel. Because it's something that, keeping the attire in any sort of media not anachronistic is very easy. You just look up, you just figure out that, okay, I want my story to be set in vaguely Europe around 17th century. You look up how people dressed in 17th century in Europe, and you just use this clothing style. It's very easy to make everybody dress as befits of people in this age. Of course, with some fantasy flair or sci-fi flair or whatever, right? There's still room for modification. But the clothes in this show are really, really anachronistic. Some are dressed as 18th century nobles, some look like 14th century peasants, and she looks like 21st century military. There is that, discrepancy here, and I wonder if it's on purpose. It kind of has to be. The way I see it kind of has to be, because if it's a mistake, then it's a mistake so easy to avoid that it just cannot be a mistake. You know what I mean? So I wonder what's going to be the significance of it. first thing that immediately comes to my mind is this is a planet that was colonized by humans. Humans somehow got themselves animal traits, and everybody here is just a human, simply mutated in different various ways. Something like, I don't know, humans started splicing their DNA with animal DNA to have an easier time colonizing space. But turns out that in 17 generations, that animal DNA expresses itself more strongly and humans start gaining animalistic traits. Something along those lines is what I would expect. Maybe it's just my initial thought of this has to be sci-fi in some regard, talking and peeking through. There was a lot of focus on stars and this weird orbiting planet. And whenever other planets are involved, it's probably sci-fi. I don't know. I'm gonna note it down just in case. Animal people are humans who evolved animal traits or gained them through science in general. Current planet was colonized by humans, whatever the current planet is. I'm kind of reminded of what was that book series? I think it was Dragon Riders of Pern, wasn't it? The big reveal was that the people are on that planet because they arrived in some spaceship and they found dragons and some stuff like that happened. I'm kind of reminded of. There was that game. Can't remember the name of it. But it was essentially that humans arrived at a planet and they find that planet inhabited by weird creatures, and then eventually it turns out that those humans who arrived there with sub FTL travel, because FTL wasn't created yet, and they arrived there in stasis or whatever. The travel took 5,000 years or whatever, and in that time humanity figured out FTL travel, and they sent other group of humans who arrived before them because faster than light, and they evolved into those creatures on that planet or something like that, right? I'm kind of again reminded of all sorts of stories where humans arrived at a planet and then evolved, and then a regular non-evolved human arrives and is very weirded out about the rest. She's very strong, inhumanely so. Initially, I was about to make a comparison to Death Worlders, the story that I'm reading currently. In Death Worlders, basically, because humans grew on a planet with strong gravity, they are this much stronger than all the other species in the galaxy who live in germ-free worlds with calm weather and half a G gravity, so that humans can just grab their hand and just rip it out of the socket, and it's not a problem, and they can jump higher because on every ship there is half a G gravity, stuff like that. And I thought maybe something like that, right? She's a human born on Earth, and that's why she's so strong. But this is not Earth, so she's able to just run on the water because she's so light, because she's been raised in 1G gravity, but this planet has half G or something like that, which actually not an entirely bad assumption. Belle is strong because human, and in parentheses, Death Worlders. But again, it might just be my initial impression that this might be sci-fi in some way. Talking, I might just have trouble letting go of it. It's entirely possible that she's just strong because magic. Of course, it's a possibility. Yeah, it's underwater and just casually ripped off the entire chunk of it. It's a flower, dragon, Kirin, octopus thing. Gotcha. Sure. I mean, it's a unique creature design, at least. That much is, for sure. Partner. And we see her sword in full. Yeah, very heavy. Erekbon, or whatever it says. Yeah, seems like very coarse Damascus. And a really nice fight sequence. Yeah, very collateral damage. That was the word I was looking for earlier. Now it came to me. Collateral damage. Yeah, they're causing a lot of collateral damage in the process. They, meaning Belle and her sword. Runding. I was wondering what's up with that. Like, in the opening sequence, the blue guy's sword clearly said the word that he said it says. Right? Makes sense. She says Runding, but it doesn't say Runding on the sword. It says something else entirely. I'm assuming she gave the sword her own name. She was unable to read this script, maybe, but she needed a name for her friend. So she named it Runding. Meanwhile, it's in reality not named Runding. Yeah. And suddenly it lost its Damascusness. Nice kiss for good luck. And it's no longer gold, now it's silver. Interesting transformation. And the butt slits. Again, surprisingly competent action sequences in general. Initially, before I started watching this episode, this season, I was under the impression that what we can expect is essentially of seasonal isekai trash quality, right? Some sliding PNGs, some stills, large parts of the fight just happening off screen, and the fight not being particularly long because the longer it is, the more complex it is to animate, right? I was expecting something like that. This surprised me. Oddly enough, I was also surprised by the quality of art and animation in the Sword Isekai, another show with a small girl with a big sword, which I also thought is going to be of seasonal isekai trash quality, but it exceeded my expectations. Again, neither this nor Sword Isekai are, free rentier, but not many shows are, but it's still good, competent animation. I like it. I got much more than I bargained for. Like, we still use some things like, obscuring the place of the slash with blood and obscuring the cut with blood, so we don't have to think of how to draw it. Her character here, for the large part, is just a sliding PNG with only her hair being animated, right? There are still those shortcuts being used. But in shots that are in cuts that put her in focus, right? She actually gets a nice animated sequence. It's only in moments like this where, there's a lot happening on screen. Nobody's gonna pay attention to the fact that her legs don't move and it's only her belt and her hair, right? Nobody's gonna give a fuck in this moment. Because it's a shortcut, it doesn't, doesn't focus on her that much. It focuses on the point of cutting. So those things don't necessarily need to be animated. Cool. Cool. Salt water save the food. Why are you scared of salt water? And also, it seems like it's not so much salt water as it's the squid ink. Yeah, this is not salt water. This is squid ink. Why are you scared of squid ink? And why do you call it salt water? Is it a translation issue? Where in Japanese, squid ink and salt water are the same word, so they translated it literally without, seeing what it actually is? Or is it because those people have no term for squid ink, no specific term, because they don't deal in squid ink, right? They don't make squid ink tagliatelle or whatever, right? Maybe. And they know it's watery and it's salty, so yeah, salt water. I don't know. If this keeps up, and she can speak to the creatures with this blue magical glow. Want to go home? The sea? Why don't you? Can't get back now. Die here. Spread the seeds. Okay. So we know that Belle can feel for the monsters that she kills, right? She kills them out of necessity because they threaten the people around, and not because she takes joy in it. Right? Something like that, maybe? I don't know. We know that the monsters are also sentient to some degree. They can communicate if the communication is facilitated by blue magic or whatever it is. So what's the deal with the monsters? Later on, Belle also says that joining their side, which makes me think the monsters might have a side. I don't know. Yeah, lots of collateral damage. Seed and arm. Flower flesh is my favorite. Right, so she likes... Oh, actually, no, there's plenty of vegetation. I was about to say that maybe she is deemed maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe she is deemed a brute and barbarian because she enjoys fruit and vegetables and plants. Because this word is like reversed. You eat meat, and that's seen as good. But plants, no, you would have to be a fucking barbarian to enjoy a carrot. And this piece of octopus is treated as a fruit, and she's seen as a weirdo for enjoying fruit. I've no fucking clue, mate. I've no idea. I really don't. Yeah, letting one of the seeds go to the sea. There is vegetation, but not that much of it. I don't know. If it is a different planet, then it looks awful lot like Earth, so probably not. Glowing plants. Why does he bother doing that? Same goes for the tassel today. Cian would have done a better job. Yeah, but he refuses to use magic for anything but teaching. The name of the sword that you have somehow binds you. That's my current running theory, right? Like, if your sword says teacher, you gain superpowers, but you can only use them for what the sword says. The sword says teacher, so you use your powers for teaching, nothing else. If your sword says bread, then you might get fucking laser vision and throwing fireballs out of your fingertips or whatever, but you can only ever use those powers to make bread. nothing else. You can start a fire in a fireplace with your fingertip fireballs, but you can start a fire with your fingertip fireballs in the bread oven, because it goes towards making bread. Is it something like that? And her sword saying utopia means that her powers are only ever to be used for the benefit of the world, right? She can't use her powers to take over the world as an evil overlord, for example. She can't use her powers to install an authoritarian government in some country, because that would be the opposite of utopia, right? I think I might be onto something. The name of your sword binds you. If it says teacher, you can only use your powers to teach. Belle's sword says utopia, so she can only use her powers to make the world a better place. There we go. That's probably what's happening here. Learn to unleash your swords best in a single strike. Eat it just like any other fish flower. Gotcha. Their leather is tough too, making shoes. So they're eating some sort of octopus stew with some coleslaw and berries and bread and some butter and a what looks like jam, maybe cranberry jam. Pitcher of something and a couple of bottles of something else. And he's using those bottles to pour something red and something white onto his octopus. Their equivalent of ketchup and sour cream, mayo, something like that, or maybe hot sauce and mayo. I don't know. Apparently he finds the octopus otherwise unpalatable, maybe? But her palate is different, which really tells me that she's different from the other inhabitants of the world in way more ways than one, down to her palate. But at the same time, the octopus flesh, the Negroni flesh, is still palatable for the inhabitants of this world. They just never thought to try eating it. Why do you think this Negroni left the sea? Duty as a flower. Everything in this world tries to intermingle with everything else. Right. For a world supposedly focused on intermingling, the fact of traveling is really seen as something very special. Right? Like, if the innate desire of every single living thing in this world was to intermingle, then traveling would be seen as something normal, right? Like, you want to intermingle, so of course you're gonna travel the world, of course you're gonna visit the neighboring city, of course you're gonna have your family come over, right? Because you want to intermingle. Everything in this world wants to intermingle. But it seems like traveling is seen as something big, something special, something you have to take a course and a training to become, to be able to do. Your everyday random mouse in a vest is not gonna travel. You have to be a nomad, capital N nomad, to travel. Interesting. Pipe with, I assume it's some sort of magical... oh, it's a smoke. Yeah, it's a magical device. Magical language. Whatever is inscribed on an item becomes the purpose of that item. Kind of sort of like in Eragon, where Eragon had his sword named Brisingr, which means fire, and so whenever he would take his sword and say Brisingr, the sword would be set on fire, because that's what it means. Something like that. Like this pipe, if you wanted to use it to... I don't know, what else do you use a pipe for? If you were to put one end of it in a cup of water and try to suck the water through it, it wouldn't work, because it only works for smoking. Maybe. It really seems like there's some sort of a magical script, though. Magical script that gives items a purpose and power to fulfill it. Pipe named Smoke, as an example. This would tie into the swords, right? The sword is named teacher or instructor, so you can only ever use the sword to instruct others, right? If you're sparring with someone to teach them, sure, go ahead, use the sword. If you want to use the sword to defeat bandits, well, that's not gonna work. Unless you have someone with you and you tell them, watch, observe, I'm gonna teach you how to find bandits, then the sword is gonna work. Right? Something like that. Because if so, then there is a very interesting potential in making things, items with an inscribed purpose work against their purpose, or work in ways that bend their purpose. Like a sword inscribed with the word teacher still being used to fight bandits, as long as you tell one of the bandits, watch and observe how a real swordsman does it, teach from my moves before you die, and then the sword works. Right? Maybe. Oh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. What could I teach a fish? Yeah. You can only ever teach. Why won't you use your skills for anything but teaching? That is my role as Enola. Yeah, I can't do anything else. My sword says Enola. I'm a motherfucking Enola. I'm not a Bungra, which means fighter. If I were a Bungra, I would have Bungra written on my sword, and then I would be the best fighter in the world, but it says Enola, so what can you do? Right? It really seems to me like this is the case. Will we find people like me there? Yeah, probably not. The Army of Insatiable Emptiness. Way to fucking name drop a thing like that. Just randomly, casually. Oh, you know, the Army of Insatiable Emptiness is after me and it's gonna take me sooner or later. Do not speak of them, you have no idea what they're like. People who can't enjoy the world anymore, right? So, like what? A bunch of emos are chasing after her? Is that what it is? I'll be done for if they ever catch me, I'm sure of it. Homesickness after a home she never had. We can go on a journey. Okay. Okay, because a lot is happening here. Shattered glass or crystal. Flying in a void. Animal people. glowing bird, Belle wearing a, dare I say, futuristic looking dress, sword fighting, a piano in front of a planet, lots of lights on the water. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna note it down. Belle is from a futuristic Earth, got either isekai'd in the, you know, classic isekai way, isekai'd, or stranded on a different planet. Two theories, right? Either she is, again, isekai'd in a classic way. She was walking home from school, got hit by a truck and sent here. Simple. Or she's basically Clark Kent, right? She's from Earth. She was sent in some sort of a rescue pod or whatever. The pod crashed in this planet and she emerges as a Superman with laser eyes and super strength. Basically something like that. There isn't a soul like you in Country of Swords. World that's truly yours. Spark City. Undergo the trials to become a nomad. Okay. So I guess the first arc of this show is going to be like magical exam arc, essentially. Right? Or, well, the first arc is probably going to be the travel to the Park Country, and then the second arc is going to be a magical exam. That's my assumption. Yeah, nothing else here is modern. Stone bed. Traveling means putting your entire being on the line. World of my own. And we get more memories. She woke up, or appeared, amongst a bunch of crystals. Well, obvious thing, a summoning ritual that requires those crystals placed in a circle to summon a hero from another world. Probably not it, though. Probably not it. A teleportation magic, teleportation technology, a crystalline escape pod from a spaceship, something like that. I don't know. She appeared featureless, was bullied for it, and then discovered she has superpowers. She found parents, but never felt like a member of this family because she was featureless and they were not. And then her parents started expecting a child of their own, so she felt dejected. She ran towards the palace randomly, and then, without encountering any guards, made it into the castle's treasury and found a sword chained to the walls. And immediately just said, friend. Okay. Woke it up, took the sword, and ran away. Really good music, by the way. This does not look like a moon. This looks like a planet. It's either some sort of a weird-ass binary planet system, or they are on the moon. We are on the moon of some planet, because, yeah, the alternative is a binary planet system. Binary planet system. Reminds me of a... can't remember the title of it. A movie, CG movie. I'm not even sure if it was in French, maybe. CG movie where the world, where the action takes place in a tree. Kind of like Oyukimi no Kaina, but not quite. In a big tree. And below there is who the fuck knows what. Above is who the fuck knows what. So people live there in that tree. And then the main character discovers a spaceship below the layer of the clouds. And then something leads them to go up the tree. And at some point during their journey up, gravity shifts. And it turns out that it's two planets connected together with that tree trunk, basically. It was cool, but I can't remember much more of it. I just remember the cool ass fucking idea of two planets being tethered together with a tree or something. I'm gonna have to rewatch it one day. I remember the CG being completely fucking atrocious. But at least the story and the theme, that was good. Durchbrochen sie der Welt. Pierce the world. Why does the sword speak German? And apparently she was allowed to keep the sword. She was placed in a cell, and that's where Xian found her. Is it the sword that brings those memories forth? I don't know, man. It's such a confusing opening. Yeah, I'm going to undertake the trial so I can travel. Go get your sword. Last lesson. You can't become a nomad unless you take on a curse. Right, a curse can take many forms depending on the life of its bearer. This curse is the first trial on your path to becoming a nomad. It will continue to haunt you as you journey forth. Yeah, okay, so his curse is that I can't use my power to do anything except teach. I'm assuming. And the curse has to do with the sword that you own. Right? Yeah, curse passed by blood. What is the goal? I want to know my roots, want to meet people like me, want to intermingle with this world too. Yep, makes sense. Trust that this curse will one day become a blessing and accept it. This is a very interesting concept. I really, really like it on like a conceptual level. Once your teacher has nothing more to teach you, the teacher disappears from your memory and only his teaching lives on. I really, really fucking like it. Like, I don't like the fact that she's suffering because it's a tragic story, right? Like, that aside, I really like it as a concept, though. I really do, and I wish I was actually, more creatively fulfilled. I wish I was actually like in the process of writing a story or something, because I would absolutely incorporate it. It's such an amazing idea. I love it. That means you're about to finish your final lesson. You're disappearing, yeah. Graduate no longer needs memories of her master. Only his teachings need to live on. Oh, that's cool. And that way you'll never realize my ulterior motive. I'm entrusting it to you so that you'll visit places I couldn't reach. Cutting me down will free you from that pain, right? Because he will disappear from her memories, and he will also physically disappear, so there will not be a reminder of his existence, right? There won't be that one person that she cannot see the face of and something feels off. That person will be dead. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. That is my destiny as one who teaches. Someday you learn the meaning of Erewhon. The spell, yeah, it is a spell. It is a magical inscription that speaks Utopia. And he's an Enola, because the sword says so. And there's that weird ass crystal on her neck. I'm assuming a part of the crystal that she was born from. Something like that. Departure at the red hour. Edie. I'm assuming it's going to be our opening. Probably. Another guy with a magical sword, presumably. A Emul from Wish. Weird people with swords like orcs and maybe, and I think like a fish person. And she's gonna be traveling with someone, with a cat boy. Yeah, traveling with a cat boy. Wearing those weird clothes. I'm assuming they're like a school uniform for the School of Nomads. Something like that. Weird monster design. That was one of... Yeah, this was one of the things that was really fucking cool in the opening. So incredibly dope. I love it. The girl of a reason. Wherefore in the earth shine. Is the... Oh! Is this planet, is this world called Earthshine? Because if it is, well, what shines on Earth? The moon does. Is this Earth's moon but terraformed? Is that what it is? Huh. We're on Earth's moon, but terraformed. What happened to Earth then? Why is there seemingly no connection between Earth and moon? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this show. But right now... Oh boy. Right now, let's look at who makes it, right? Bye Bye Earth, based on a mango. 24 minutes, we don't know the amount of episodes, it seems. Liden Films, as I thought. Wow, Sony Picture Entertainment's Crunchyroll. Source is a novel and also a manga based on the same thing. Action, adventure, fantasy, Kemonomimi film protagonist, swordplay. To the surprise of nobody, Tensei Shitaraken Deshita. That was the other small girl, big sword anime that I mentioned. Also surprisingly good. I can recommend it, honestly. Somali. That's an interesting thing. I guess that fish out of water scenario? Probably. I have no idea why Frieren is mentioned here. It doesn't seem anything like Frieren. Maybe the, traveling aspect. Don't know. This one, Soul Eater, because of melee combat, maybe. Maho no Tabitai, because fantasy. And this one, whatever this is. I don't know. I can see Tensei Shitaraken Deshita, absolutely. I can see Somali, Frieren, kind of, sort of. The rest, not so much. Okay. Studio Liden Films. What have they made? Goblin Slayer, Season 2. Rise to Atelier. Oh, they improved since Ryza, I would say. Yusha Gashinda. Yofkashi no Uta. Did they make Yofkashi no Uta, or were they a supporting studio? Can't remember. No, they just straight up made Yofkashi no Uta. So they always had the potential to make absolute fucking bangers then. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I kind of wish it was as stylish as Yofukashi, but I guess it wouldn't fit the world, would it? If you haven't seen Yofukashi no Uta, absolutely watch it. It's so beautiful and just really stylish and really fucking cool. Can't wait for second season. Hataraku Saibo Black, The Sakai Picnic, Tejina Senpai, Mahu Shoujo Toku Shusen Asuka, whatever that is. Terraformars, another interesting sci-fi thingamajig with evolved cockroach people. Killing Bites for the Kemonomimi. Berserk. Oh, they made the CG Berserk. Well, that's a stain on their reputation, isn't it? Terraformars, Initial D. Arslan Senki. Interesting. And, yeah, and other shows as well. So, I mean, pretty good portfolio, isn't it? Ooh, Kevin Penkin makes music here. Interesting. Cool. Again, staff. Let's check them out. First, the OGs. To Ubukata, original creator, and Tae Hyung Kim, original character design, Korean man. To Ubukata. That's whoa, that's a lot. That's a metric ton. Okay, so what mangas did he make? Or wrote story for, at least? Chevalier, Testament Spiegel, and other Spiegels. Bye Bye Earth Gargoyle, and I'm assuming adaptations of the former, but not only. I see some shows that don't take root in. Oh, yeah, because he's not just a story writer. He wrote some scripts, yes, and is credited as original creator for some of them. But other than that, he seems to have also written some original stories and also worked in series composition on some of those shows. Series composition and script for Ruby anime as well. Okay. Psychopaths. Yeah, we can expect a nice story. And Tae Hyung Kim, Blade and Soul character design as well, and also character design for Bye Bye Earth. Right, because original character, whatever. Disregard. Next we have director and assistant director. Director is Yasuto Nishikata, who also worked on Killing Bites as a director, Arslan Senki, Nanatsu no Taizai, SAO, episode director for single episode, Magic Kaito 1412, single episode, Infinite Stratos, single episode, Naruto Animation Check, started in photography, it seems, and then went into doing in-betweens and animation in general, and slowly rose to being episode director for singular episodes until assistant director on Card Fight and full-blown director on Killing Bites, then Hortensia Saga and Bye Bye Earth now. Gotcha. Sota Yokote, assistant director here, also worked on Komi-san, single episode, Slow Loop, single episode. This one, the Tamer show. Episode director and storyboard for the opening. Hiroyuki Yoshino, series composition, character design and art direction. Let's check those out as well. Hiroyuki Yoshino, right, series composition, also on Kuroshitsuji, and script as well. Strike the Blood, all parts of it, seemingly, yeah, also series composition and some scripting. World Trigger, Toaru Majutsu no Index, Trinity 7 movie, more Kuroshitsuji, Izetta, series composition, Kankole, Trinity 7, of course, Kuroshitsuji, Seikon no Quasar. Oh, he's the original author of Seikon no Quasar. Okay. I'm interested. I am interested. Yeah, Seikon no Quasar, also my otome. Alright. We have a nice series composition man then. Yuki Hino, character design. Also for finishing for Made in Abyss. Character design for anything else? No, not really. Mostly in-betweens. And finishing for, again, Made in Abyss, Danmachi, in-betweens, episode director for Deji Meets Girl, Horimiya in-betweens, and yeah, his first role as character designer. Hotaka Okamoto, art director here, also Revenger, artboard for Likoreko. Monmusu backgrounds, Fate Apocrypha, Grisaya background art, Shirayuki Hime background art for a single episode. Yeah, that's an interesting rise from background art into art director. Next we have Aiko Shinohara, color design, Yuki Murotsuka, director of photography, and Satomi Yamada, editing. Aiko Shinohara, color design, also for Bastard, also for Hortensia Saga, Killing Bites, color design, Black Clover, color design and coloring, Symphogear, AXZ, and GX. And G. Okay, a familiar face then. Next we have Yuki Murotsuka, director of photography for Bye Bye Earth, Wonderlight, photography for some episodes of Hyo Fukashi no Uta as well. Okay, so we can expect some nice photography then. Yeah, for sure. And 86 as well. And Satomi Yamada, editing, also for Raiza, Tensai OG, editing assistant, SAO assistant, mostly assistant roles. Yeah, his first role as full-blown editing was Deji Meets Girl, then Raiza, then Bye Bye Earth. Soichiro Kubo, sound director, Yoshiro Hara, monster design, and Tsubuki Ken, also monster design. I'm leaving Kevin Penkin at the end. Soichiro Kubo, sound director. Also for anything I would know. No, I'm unfamiliar with all of those shows. Yoshi Tomohara, monster design here. Also prop design and sub-character design for Ninja Kamui. Monster and prop for Raiza. Ruby, mechanical and weapon designs. Fate props, Clockwork Planet props, Keijo props, Softeni props. Tsubuki Ken, monster design here. Also cooking animation director. That's a very specific role for Tondemo Skill de Isekai Horomeshi. Also monster design and sub-character design. And some work on Build Divide as well. And Kevin Penkin doing music. Very good music, by the way. Because, I mean, it's Kevin Penkin. Yeah, music for Kusuru no Hitorigoto, Spice and Wolf, Tate no Yusha, Made in Abyss, and some other really good shows, but he's making music for more than just shows. He's making music mostly for video games. Yeah. Music by Kevin Penkin. Cool. Cool. Characters. Voice actors, namely. Let's start with Belle and Cian, because we've met them so far. Belle, voiced by Feiro's Ai. She's getting a lot of roles recently, I noticed. She's voicing live in Mayonaka Punch this season, Kikoru in Kaiju Hachigo, Sumireko in Kaito Otome, plenty other people, Ramona in Scott Pilgrim. Who else do we have here? Raelza in Saito-san, Power in Chainsaw Man, Jolene in the JoJo's, Irene in the JoJo's as well, and plenty other people. Hibiki in Danberu. Yeah. She really just kind of sort of appeared out of nowhere in 2014 for a single character in Fate, and then started getting some roles that I really enjoyed. Yeah. Her rise to power is a thing to behold. And Junichi Suabe, voicing Xian. He also voiced Aizawa in Boku no Hero Academia. Also voiced Lugner in Frieren. Yeah, I can see that. I can see some of Lugner's voice. Seth in Mahotsukai no Yome. Plenty of other people as well. Nobody I'm necessarily familiar with, unfortunately, I'm afraid. Any other familiar faces? Not really. Juzo in Nogan's Life, I guess. Have not seen Nogan's Life, but I can recognize the character. Someone in the JoJo's as well. Oh, Archer in Fate, or some Fate spin-offs at least. I don't know if Archer was recast at any point, so Tetsuo in Demi-chan Wakataritai. Yeah, that is Itami from Gate. And again, a lot of other roles. Like, his portfolio is kind of massive, as you can see. Yeah, we are at 2006 and it's still going. It's still going and going and going. Yeah, let's oh, we actually got to the end. Good. Okay. Next, Adonis question. That sounds like question. Kitty the Owl. Gav Shandy, Guinness. Are we doing Gate here? Are we naming characters after alcohol? Like the White Roses were named after alcohol. Shandy Gaff, Guinness. Is that what we're doing here? In any case, Adonis question and Kitty the Owl. Adonis question is voiced by Koyuki Uchiyama. Yeah, Uchiyama. Voicing Gen in Kaijo Hachigo. Voicing Tomura Shiragaki in Boku no Hero Academia. Voicing Mithrun in Dungeon Meshi, Ruth in Mahotsukai no Yome. Someone in Jujutsu Kaisen. Anybody else that I would recognize at a glance? No. Oh, Asahina Tact in Tact of Destiny. And some other people I might or might not recognize. Alright. Then we have Natsuki Hanae, voicing Kitty the Owl. What a name. Also voicing Yoroha Naingo Esgata in Nier. Botchan in Shinigami Botchan. Tanjiro in Kimetsu no Yaiba. Makoto in Danmachi. Elan Ceres in Witch from Mercury. Falco in Shingeki no Kyojin. Who else do we have here? Milo in Sabiku Ibisco. Yeah, I think that'll do. Yep. Okay, that'll do. Shandy Gaff, voiced by Satoshi Hino. And Guinness, voiced by Junya Enoki. Satoshi Hino voices Momonga. Okay. That's gonna be interesting to hear Momonga. I mean, depending which voice of Momonga, of course, that is. Hung in Arc Knights. Fell in Tondemo Skill. More Momonga. Someone in Kimetsu no Yaiba I see appeared multiple times already. And yeah, that'll do. I mean, just knowing that he's voicing Momonga is enough for me to be able to put a face to the voice, so to speak, or voice to the name, whatever, to know what I can expect. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna put it. And Junya Enoki, voicing Guinness, as well as voicing I don't know those people. Someone in Jujutsu Kaisen, I can tell that much. Popko, but who hasn't voiced Popko? Martin in Witch from Mercury. I wanted to say Madoka Magica, but no, there are no male characters in Madoka Magica. Karre in Star Wars Visions. Shikkaku in Hataraku Saibo Black. And plenty of other people. Mizuchi's boyfriend in Beastars. And then we have Shelly, voiced by Saori Hayami. I'm looking forward to hearing her. I really like her as a voice actress. And Benedictine, voiced by Ami Koshimizu. Yeah, Saori Hayami, the voice of Visha. That's how I will know her. That's how I knew her, because it was a voice that stood out very much, and that's how I will probably forever just remember her as the voice of Visha. Also voiced of Kalka in Overlord, Nagi-san Buraka. Okay, interesting. Wouldn't have said. Then again, Nagisa doesn't speak that much in the game, and I haven't finished the anime, so... Fanora in Majo to Yaju, Fallin in Dungeon Meshi, Yor in Spy Family. Plenty of big prominent roles. And yet she's relegated to being a secondary character. Visha, of course, appears again. Shinobu in Kimetsu no Yaiba. Plenty other roles as well. And Ami Koshimizu, the voice of Benedictine, also the voice of Tsukio Tsukuri in Shangri-La second season, whenever that comes out, and whoever this character is. For a moment I thought it's Double X, Triple X? Double X from Sentai Daishikaku, but no. Similarly looking eyes. The voice of Holo in Spice and Wolf. Now, that's a, much more recognizable voice. Red in Arcanite, Sadina in Shield Hero. Who else do we have here? Yang Xiaolong in Ruby, Amanda in Tensei Shitaraken Deshita. Yeah, that's the sword isekai I mentioned. G36 in those frontline, Shiori in Precon. And plenty other roles. Karen in Code Geass. Lacus in Overlord. Naomi, Darling in the Franxx. Yeah, plenty of voices, plenty of roles. And that's, yeah, nothing's gonna load. Yeah, that's gonna cover characters. Those are some very interesting names for the characters. Shandigav, Guinness, Kitty the Old. What the fuck are those names? Something tells me that they might come from, like, I don't know, earthen words or something, kind of like Oyuki Yumi no Kaina, where they studied the signs and stuff like that, right? Something along those lines, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna learn of it in the future, I'm assuming, because we are already exceeding an hour and a half. So it's time for a summary. I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this episode. It's maybe a little bit heavy on the just name dropping things, right? Maybe a little heavy on that. Like, there's a certain balance to be struck, there's a certain balance to be struck between casually dropping proper nouns and explaining things that people in the world already know, right? Like, on one hand, on one end of the spectrum, you have something kind of like here, where people are just talking and dropping things that the viewer has absolutely no clue what they are, right? They're saying, hey, could you pass me the scrimbows? I need to Bambladug the Grugto. And what the fuck am I supposed to get out of this conversation? Like, I have no clue what they're talking about. That's on one end of the spectrum. And on the other end of the spectrum, is I don't know, mother giving her child a silver coin and saying, "Here, take this silver coin. Just remember to not lose it. This one silver coin is 1/100th of a golden coin that has our king's face on it, by the way. Our dear king, Grombo II the Greatest. So be careful to not lose this silver coin. One silver coin is actually 100 copper coins. The copper coins have the crest of our royal family on it, so treat it with respect. If you get those copper coins, don't drop them on the ground. That's an offense to the right." Like, that's on the other end of the spectrum. Nobody fucking talks like that. Nobody says, "Here, have a dollar." A dollar is actually 100 cents. Dollar has this on the right. So those are the two ends of the spectrum. And I feel like this episode kind of leaned in the first direction, like casually dropping the name of some army of emos, all sorts of things. The fact that eating plants is seen as barbaric, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it kind of leaned in that direction a little bit too much, perhaps, for my liking. I hope those things get explained in the future. I mean, I'm fairly certain that they do get explained in the future. And that is also not to say that I would like the other end of the spectrum, right? I certainly would not like everything to be spelled out for me, because that just takes the joy of speculating and theorizing out of watching the show. But I would perhaps appreciate a little bit fewer proper nouns, a little bit fewer concepts to be present, right? Like, leave the fact of the emo army out, right? For the moment, leave that out. Have them do whatever they want to do. Just don't mention the emo army. Mention it in the second episode or in the third episode, right? To kind of spread out the new words that we are, new words, new terms, new facts that the viewer is assaulted with. But that would be essentially my only criticism of this episode. Other than that, I really enjoyed pretty much everything. I enjoy how absolutely alien this world looks. Maybe not looks, because it looks just like Earth. It has the same fucking trees and grass. But I enjoy how alien this world feels, right? And not just because of the alien-looking people, but also because the plant squid monster, and because eating plants is seen as barbaric, and salt water being scary somehow, right? Those things really create this image of a world that, you look at it, you see a girl with a sword, and you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a, fantasy show. She's gonna have a sword, she's gonna probably be fighting orcs at some point, she's gonna save a little girl from the goblins, she might have to slay a dragon, right? The standard fare, essentially. And then they hit you with salt water, right? Then they hit you with her weirdly anachronistic clothing. And you start wondering, what more is there to the world here? And you get the feeling that there's much more to the world still, and that whatever there is to the world is going to be very, very, very interesting. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Good animation, very good, I would even say. Very good art. Very good. Good art, for sure. There was some use of some sliding PNGs, some stills here and there, but in moments that didn't really matter, right? When we had the scene of Belle talking to Sian, right? Shot, reverse shot, shot, reverse shot. It doesn't make much sense to do some crazy wacky animations there, so there weren't any. It was mostly just a still. Makes perfect sense. Some sliding PNGs when it's obscured and it's not the focus. Makes sense as a cost-saving measure. But wherever it does matter, wherever we see some flippity flops in the air, whenever we see the sword land a hit, that's animated well and good, and it really looks good. It really looks better than I expected this to look. So, yeah, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Amazing music, but it's Kevin Penkin, so it's to be expected, of course. I don't know who's made the opening and ending. The opening and ending people were not listed, I don't think, unless maybe Annalist didn't load them. No, they're not listed. So for now, I'm gonna assume it was Kevin Penkin, but I don't know, maybe not. We will see. Yeah, it's a good show so far. I'm gonna be watching, I'm gonna be waiting for future episodes, and I'm hoping you will too, that you will join me on this nice little adventure with Belle Lablac and fucking Shandy Gaff and Kitty Dill. I swear, if there's a character called like fucking Smirnov or something, I'm gonna lose my shit. But yeah, again, I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to mention about this show, this episode. If so, say so. Sorry. If so, say so in the comments down below. What did you think of it, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. No spoilers from the manga or the light novel, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos. Not only Goodbye Earth, but also Spice and Wolf, Wasuyu. What else is there? Fuck, I forgot. I forgot. Spice and Wolf, Washio, Isekai Shikkaku, Shy second season, Wistoria and Konosekai, the QA Isekai essentially. And you can also click the bell icon to be notified of when those episodes go out and when I go live, because I do stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, where on Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Washio, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube, membership, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my one for Patreons: QB, Without the Neds, Reine, Yuki Ally, Dr. Watt, Friedrich Jung, Akamancer, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to fight any octopuses.